Hare Krishna. So, welcome all the devotees for Saturday Bhagavatam session. And I wish that through this regular Saturday morning sessions, I want those, especially those devotees who are regularly practicing the chanting, following regular principles, should take more seriously and attend these classes. And it's not that it's any new information, but by coming regularly like this, attending, you get an opportunity to get more connected to Srimad Bhagavatam. And I feel as a service, as in a role of a counselor or a mentor in whatever way you take, at least I get an opportunity to share some things of my uh, share and also hear from each one of you. In this way, it's a platform where we could connect to each other. Just like during voice days, during college days, we used to have a regular. When I was not coming to Kharagpur for preaching, I was coming weekly or a monthly 2 times to do counseling classes, mentor classes. Even to the local devotees, we used to have weekly programs, but mentoring classes of counseling that used to not be separate. In order to address these aspects, I feel very necessary. And this inspiration I got from recent ILS one program, which Devaki Mataji took. She's a proper disciple. And she's she took about sheltering relationships, one topic she took on that. While describing that, she mentioned how in ISKCON, the focus of devotee care. She said, actually, we started a department in GBC for creating new devotees. Preaching department, it is called as. But this preaching department gradually turned into devotee care department. The reason why it got turned into devotee care, because they realized that in preaching department, they're finding it's like a pipeline. Devotees are coming, and after some years, they're going out and new devotees are joining. It's a pipeline. Every now and then, she's saying that in a temple or in any community, she's finding new faces. All the old faces are getting paused off, or they are not neglected. So then the preaching department with GBC initiative that got turned into devotee care department. In the devotee care department, they started emphasizing on making new devotees is certainly important, but more important is keeping the old devotees enthused. And keeping the old devotees enthused for that such level of discussion or such a level of involvement of higher realizations are required. You cannot speak DYS and keep devotees inspired, even after. So, because DYS is at one level of inspiration. As the devotee goes on ahead, he needs a more further enthusiasm. And moreover, she said, in ISKCON, I have found those devotees who left, big leaders who were doing a lot of contributory, who was doing a very amazing contribution to Prabhupada's mission. They could not sustain for a long because of one reason, she said. That is, they don't have any one person whom they can hear. They don't have anyone from whom they can hear in their life. That means they felt, now I'm sufficiently grown. I know everything. I read all Prabhupada's books. I have been in the mission for more than 15 to 16 years. Why I need to consult anyone? Not necessary. हमको पता है क्या करना है. So उस level पे then they gradually left also Krishna consciousness. Forget about leading a project or something. They left Krishna consciousness or they got deviated and things. So he said, these are all my God brothers, she mentioned, and God sisters also. Many of them left because of not having, they're lonely, they're alone. They don't have any friend from whom they can hear. They don't have any mentor from whom they can take guidance and rectify themselves or follow. So this is another important service in the mentorship, which is necessary that we create a platform where devotees are together. They get an opportunity to know each other, and also opportunity where they can share Krishna consciousness realization, because every one of you are growing in your practice of Krishna consciousness in years of practice. And in that, when you're sharing, certainly your realization is also involved. And hearing other devotees' realization, it will also help, to grow more. Then you may say, Prabhu, we are not discussing any realization, we are discussing only Bhagavatam. See, while discussing Bhagavatam only, your realizations are what you are convinced of, you speak of that only. And if you're not convinced, you cannot artificially speak also for a long time. So therefore, it's necessary that you get opportunity to read and nurture and develop. Keeping Bhagavatam in the center, we are doing this type of activity. So in this way, at least I will be benefited in my own Krishna consciousness. I'm able to read Bhagavatam regularly, study and Bhagavad Gita. So you also get an opportunity like that. Okay. So this week we requested our Priya Swarup Prabhu to share on the first chapter we already discussed, Srimad Bhagavatam. I will give a 5 minutes or 10 minutes overview after the presentation of Priya Swarup Prabhu. And he will be speaking on the second chapter, Divinity and Divine Service. Srimad Bhagavatam first canto. First few verses, I think till 7 or 8 verses.
First 1 to 7.
1 to 7, yeah. So yes, Prabhu, Priya Swarup.
So, Prabhuji, should we start with prayers?
Yeah. Please. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Okay.
Yes.
So, I seek blessing from His Grace Balram Govind Prabhu. That Prabhuji has told me to speak something about these 7 verses. And Kamaraju Prabhu, he is constantly doing follow-ups through Kamaraju Prabhu. I got the instruction that I should speak on this. So seeking blessing from Balram Govind Prabhu and all the devotees here. So we'll start with prayer. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manuvishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Samrupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadkamlam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sarajatam Saganarunatamitam Tam Sajivam Savidatam Savidutam Parjana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Pada Sagana Lilita Shri Visakhamitamsha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamina Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Destarani Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So let's start with verse number 1. It's Canto 1, Chapter 2, verse number 1. So Vyasa Uvacha Iti Samprasanna Samisto Vipranam. Okay, repeat.
Iti Samprashna Samkhristo
Vipranam Roma Harshana
Vipranam Roma Harshanai
Pratipujya vyasa tesam
Pratipujya vachastesham
pravaktum upakrame.
pravaktam upachakrame.
So, Ugra Sarva, Suta Goswami, the son of Romharsan, being fully satisfied by the perfect question of Brahmanas, thanked them and thus attempted to reply. Purport: the sages of Naimisaranya asked Suta Goswami 6 questions, and so he is answering them one by one. So here, I was thinking that in the translation it is very clearly written that the Suta Goswami, they have mentioned very specifically that he is son of Rom Harshana. So I was thinking why they have mentioned here the name of his father Rom Harshana. So I heard that this pastime that Rom Harshana, he was killed by Lord Balramji. So he was giving some Bhagavatam class, and then Lord Balramji came, and he didn't pay obeisances to Balramji. So then Balramji, he through with a straw of grass, he killed that Rom Harshana. So I was thinking that this is really something to contemplate. That here we have Suta Goswami, who is son of Rom Harsana, and his father was killed by Balramji. He is a brother of Krishna. But Suta Goswami is non-envious. Here we see the quality of a devotee, that he is non-envious, and he is not envious of the God, that okay, that Krishna's brother, he killed my father, let me take the revenge and let me become enemy. Like we see the case of Hiranyakashipu, that Hiranyakashipu, his brother Hiranyaksha, was killed by Lord Vishnu. So Hiranyakashipu, he takes the vow that I will kill Lord Vishnu. So that was the goal of his life. So it shows that whenever the envious person is there, so out of envy, when they see some activity of Lord, their envy gets intensified, and they take such decisions like what was taken by Hiranyakashipu. Whereas non-envious souls and non-envious soul like Suta Goswami, even if like his father was being killed by Balramji, but they understand that okay, Lord's pastimes are it's for the benefit of everyone. So these are the non-envious souls. So they do not respond like what was responded by those envious souls. So their response is quite that Lord pastime is for benefit of everyone. And here is the same Suta Goswami who is giving, he is speaking about Lord Krishna, and he is glorifying Lord Krishna. So here we see that the non-envious soul, they respond differently, and envious soul, they respond differently to similar pastimes of the Lord. Similarly, in material world also we see that many people, whenever there is some problem which is coming to the life of some people, so envious people, they will become and they will become angry on God, they will become against the God. Whereas non-envious soul, even if in their life lot of calamities are there, so they always remain truthful to the Lord, they always remain devoted to the Lord. So we have another example, Chitraketu Maharaj, like his son died, and Chitraketu Maharaj, he responded very positively, and he became a devotee of the Lord. Of course, from Narad Muni, after Narad Muni came. So similarly, we have in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srivasacharya, when his son died. So he also responded. It's very amazing to see that when the calamities come to the devotee, how they are responding. And they are able to do that because they are non-envious in their nature. So that was what I understood from the first verse. So we'll go to second verse. Suta Uvacha.
Please, Sarpu, you can only recite the verse. and
Okay, Prabhuji.
explain it.
Okay.
And you will have a certain time bound. I hope you must be knowing about it. 15 minutes.
10 minutes, yes, Prabhuji. So,
10
yam,
minutes. 10 minutes.
yes, okay, Prabhuji. Yam pravajatam anu anupatam apita krityam dvapayano viraha katra ajuhava.
I'll help you out. I'll help you out. Okay.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Yam pravrajantam anupetam apeta krityam dvaipayano viraha katarajuhava putreti tanmayataya taravo vinnedus tam sarva bhuta hridayam monim anatosmi.
Srila Suta Goswami said, "Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the great sage Sukdev Goswami, who can enter the heart of all. When he went away to take up the renounced order of life, sannyas, leaving home without undergoing reformation by the sacred thread or the ceremonies observed by the higher caste, his father Vyasdev, fearing separation from him, cried out, 'O my son, indeed, only the trees which were observed in the same feeling of separation echoed in the response to the bereaved father. The institution of Varna and Ashram prescribes many regulative duties to be observed by its followers. Such duties enjoin that a candidate willing to study the Vedas must approach a bona fide spiritual master and request acceptance as his disciple. The sacred thread is sign of those who are competent to study the Vedas from the Acharya or the bona fide spiritual master. Sri Sukdev Goswami did not undergo such purificatory ceremonies because he was a liberated soul from his very birth. Generally, a man is born as an ordinary being, and by the purificatory process, he is born for the second time. When he sees a new light and seeks direction for spiritual progress, he approaches a spiritual master for instruction in the Vedas. The spiritual master accepts only sincere inquirer as his disciple and give him the sacred thread. In this way, a man becomes twice born, or a Dvija. After qualifying as a Dvija, one may study the Vedas, and after becoming well versed in the Vedas, one becomes a Vipra or a qualified Brahmana. Thus realizes the absolute and makes further progress in his spiritual life until he reaches the Vaishnava stage. So Vaishnava stage is the postgraduate status of a Brahmana. A progressive Brahmana must necessarily become a Vaishnava. For a Vaishnava is a self-realized learned Brahmana. Srila Sukdev Goswami was a Vaishnava from the beginning. Therefore, there was no need for him to undergo all the process of the Varnashrama institution. Ultimately, the aim of Varnashrama Dharma is to turn a crude man into a pure devotee of the Lord or a Vaishnava. Anyone, therefore, who becomes a Vaishnava accepted by the first class Vaishnava or Uttama Adhikari Vaishnava is already considered a Brahmana, regardless of his birth or past deeds. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted this principle and recognized Srila Haridas Thakur as the Acharya of the Holy Name. Through Thakur Haridas, although Thakur Haridas appeared in a Mohammedan family, in conclusion, Srila Sukdev Goswami was born a Vaishnava, and therefore Brahmanism was included in him. He did not have to undergo any ceremonies. Any low-born person, be he a Kirat,
Andhra, Pulinda, Pulka, Shabhira, Sumbha, Yavan, Akasha, or even lower,
can be delivered to the highest transcendental position by mercy of Vaishnavas. Srila Sukdev Goswami was a spiritual master of Sri Suta Goswami, who therefore offers his respectful obeisances unto Srila Sukdev Goswami before he begins his answer to the question of the sage at the Naimisharanya. So here, it's very important that we should understand that we should hear the Bhagavatam only from those people who are coming in bona fide parampara. Like nowadays there is a trend, there is a English word also, na, self-made God man. So English proper term is there, self-made God man. So here very clearly, Prabhupada is telling we should hear from those people who are coming in parampara. So although they are telling that Brahmana regarding Sukhdev Goswami, that Prabhupada is telling generally when a person is born, so he goes to a spiritual master and then he becomes a Dvij when he accepts that thread. So he's telling you for Sukhdev Goswami, it is not applicable because he is already a Vaishnav from birth. So he is not an ordinary person. So he is Vaishnav. He said that Sukhdev Goswami is the parrot of Radharani. So he's already a Vaishnava. So he need not to undergo all those processes like other people are doing. So still, but we can see that Suta Goswami is offering his obeisances to Sukhdev Goswami. Sukhdev Goswami is the spiritual master of Suta Goswami. So Prabhupada is telling that here, so we should so the Prabhupada is telling that it's the Vaishnava are above Brahman. So Vaishnav, Brahmanism is already included in Vaishnavism. So Vaishnavas are basically self-realized Brahmanas. So he told that Prabhupada is telling that it's not necessary that a person has to born first in Brahmana family and then only he can become a Vaishnava. Prabhupada is giving an example that of Haridas Thakur, Srila Haridas Thakur. Although he was Muhammadan, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made him Namacharya. So he was born in a Mohammedan family, but that is not the criteria for becoming a Vaishnava. So because he had the devotion, he was the Vaishnava. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made him Namacharya. So Suta Goswami is seeking blessing from Sukhdev Goswami and is offering his obeisances before answering his question to all the people, all the sages in the Naimisharanya. Next verse number 3.
Please, sir, one more thing. You need not to read the whole purport. Already, if you read,
Okay.
you can brief on that. That
Okay.
will save time. What you want to explain. Yeah.
Next verse. Yasana bhuvam akhila sruti saram ekam adhyatma deepam atir satam tamo tamondham sansarinam karunayaham puran guham tam vyasasunam.
Yeah. Adhyatma deepam atitirshatam tamondam samsarinam karunayaha purana guhyam tam vyashashunam upayami gurum muninam.
Let me offer my respectful
Hare
obeisances.
Krishna. Are you there? So basically, there are two ways of reciting verses you will see in Bhagavatam. One is like Gita type. Dehinosmin yada dehe, it's like small lines, 4 lines. And this is a bigger line. This is like a poetry. Yashvanubhavam akila shruti saram ekam adhyata dvipam atitir. Hare Krishna, yes.
So, translation. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto him, spiritual master of all sages, son of Vyasadeva, who out of his great compassion for those gross materialistic who struggle to cross over the darkest regions of material existence, spoke this most confidential supplement to the cream of Vedic knowledge after having personally assimilated it by experience. Translation, Prabhuji, I need not to read, na?
Yeah, up to you. You can read, that will be helpful, but not purport.
Okay, purport not required. Okay, Prabhuji. So here in this verse, it is said that Srimad Bhagavatam is the is the summary, you can say, of all the Vedas and Puranas. So after writing everything, we know the story that after writing everything, Vyasdeva was not very satisfied. So then he got the instruction of writing Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is that it is confidential supplement to the cream of all Vedic knowledge. So Srimad Bhagavatam is spoken at the end, and it's basically the summum bonum of all the Vedic knowledge what is there. So it's the conclusion. So therefore, Vedas are so vast, so that it's difficult for us to even read all the Vedas, and to understand it, it's a difficult, it's a separate thing. So Srimad Bhagavatam is basically given as a crest jewel, you can say, a summary of or the conclusion of all the Vedas. So here it is told that this conclusion is given, and then after personally assimilated, like Suta Goswami, after personally assimilating all the knowledge, then he is speaking about this Srimad Bhagavatam. So we go to next verse. Narayanam namaskritya. Okay, I think
Any issue? Please, sir, Prabhu.
नहीं प्रभुजी. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीर्यते. Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto the Nar Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, and the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. So this is a famous verse. We know that before Bhagavatam class, all the speakers recite this verse. So we'll go to next verse, Prabhuji. So this is offering respect to all the people, all our acharyas and all spiritual master and Saraswati Devi. So before reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. Next verse, verse number 5. Munaya sado prishto ham bhavadibhir loka mangalam. Munya sadho prishto ham bhavabuddhir loka mangalam yatkritya krishna samprashno yenatam suprasiddhati. O sages, I have justly questioned by you. Your questions are worthy because they relate to Lord Krishna, and so are of relevance to the world's welfare. Only question of this sort are capable of completely satisfying the self. So here in the purport, Prabhupada was telling that in our life, we are asking question only. So our material existence also, what we are doing is mostly asking question. But the glory is that when the question is related to Lord Krishna, like what we do generally, we ask question: where is money? Where is sense gratification? Where is food? So Prabhupada is telling in the purport that we all living entity, no matter what, so they are basically asking question: where is that eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So, but here it is said that when we ask question which is related to Lord Krishna, so then question is for world's welfare, not only our welfare, but for Lord world welfare. So here Suta Goswami is telling that he is glorifying the question because the question is related to Lord Krishna. So this kind of question can help us cross the material world. So such kind of question is very much appreciated, and this is the only thing which can help us to cross this material world. So we'll go to next verse. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radukshage ahetuki apratita yayatma suprasiddhati. the supreme occupation for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto transcendental Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. So again, this is another verse which is very, very famous. So here it is basically said that the supreme dharma is something which is eternal. Just a minute, Prabhuji. So yeah, so it said that the supreme occupation of all humanity is to inquire about the God. So it's not inquiring about where is food and where is other thing, but it is about inquiring about God. And also here gives the definition of what is devotional service. So devotional service, it said that it must be unmotivated and uninterrupted. So without any motive and without any interruption. So such kind of devotional service will help not only to us, but it will help the humankind. And our whole attempt should be to come to this platform that we should render devotional service which is uninterrupted and unmotivated. We'll go to next verse. वासुदेव भगवती भक्ति योग प्रयोजिता ज्ञानयति असु वैराग्यम ज्ञानम च याद अहेतुकम. By rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. So here it said that when we do bhakti, so it said that bhakti has two, when we do bhakti, we get these two things, which is detachment and knowledge, jnana and vairagya. So these are the two things which we get by default when we start doing bhakti. And also it said that if we don't develop vairagya and jnana, so we will not be able to remain on the platform of this devotional service. We may fall down. So as a devotee, we are supposed to when we start doing devotional service, we should develop jnana and vairagya. So without jnana, it will be difficult to remain on this platform of devotional service. So that's it, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Priyaswara Prabhu, for sharing. You have given a certain protocol, which I feel all devotees can follow this type of discussion. You take the verse and you speak for some important point which Prabhupada is stressing there, and you elaborate on it to some extent. This way, actually, study will be deeper. And hearing on this from the Acharya's perspective will give a more clarity also, which we will try to do in our time. Thank you very much. So, before I discuss on these 7 verses, I would like to brief about the first chapter, which we discussed. In the Srimad Bhagavatam begins with an introduction, prelude to Srimad Bhagavatam, first 3 verses. Sambandha, Abhideya and Prayojana. The first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, speaks about the 7 characteristics of absolute truth. That verse is quite a very big, elaborate, and we discussed earlier in the chapter. It tells about the 7 characteristics of absolute truth. How the absolute...
कम ही बनाना, ज्यादा मत बनाना. ना 20 नहीं, मुझे फ्रूट खाना है. ये तो मुझे बहुत भूख लगेगी तब खाऊंगी.
Please keep your mics muted, otherwise it will disturb the whole class. Yeah. So we see that in the prelude to Srimad Bhagavatam, the 7 characteristics, how you can identify absolute truth, who is absolute, who is God, that is identified by 7 characteristics. And the second verse of Srimad Bhagavatam speaks about the 7 characteristics of Srimad Bhagavatam, or it's a Abhideya, the process of understanding the absolute truth, that is taking shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. And this second verse speaks about 7 characteristics of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And the third verse gives an invitation for all the sincere seekers to take relish Srimad Bhagavatam. Nigama kalpataror galita phalam sukamukad amrita drabya samyam. In this way, the first 3 verses are giving a trailer for the coming Bhagavatam discussion, which is happening. It discusses about absolute truth, and then it will tell about Bhagavatam itself, and it gives an invitation, a welcoming, a hearty welcome to all the people to come and release Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the prayojana, which is the ultimate result of reading Bhagavatam, is that you start releasing Srimad Bhagavatam. And after that, in the entire first chapter, it set the scene where what is happening actually. In the Naimisharanya forest, the sages sat for the benefit of all people. So in this way, you understand that the people who are assembled there are not ordinary people. They have a compassion in the heart. And with that compassion in the heart for the well-being of others, they sat there. And they selected Suta Goswami. And in that we saw there are 5 qualities of Suta Goswami by which he was elected to be to be the speaker of Bhagavatam for the welfare of everyone, or to speak something or to share ideas, give guidance about what well-being people can have. So we see the 2 aspects there, the quality of the hearers or the quality of the people who assembled there. They are very compassionate, and they are looking for the well-being, best well-being of the human beings in the Kali Yuga. And we saw that Kali Yuga qualities are explained by them. They are not just identified the problem. It's not that they are finding faults in the Kali Yuga people. They diagnosed what is their faults. Prayana alpasavya, kalavasmin yuge jana. There are total 5 disqualifications of Kali Yuga people, which we discussed last time. And after expressing those 5 disqualifications to Suta Goswami, whom they selected. In the modern world, people are elected. But in the earlier times, people used to be selected on the qualification. And he had 5 qualities. 3 are external qualities and 2 are innate internal qualities by which he was selected to be speaker of Bhagavatam. And then, after sufficiently glorifying Suta Goswami, they asked 6 questions. They asked 6 questions, which is the entire first chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. Therefore, the chapter is titled as Question by the Sages of Naimisharanya. The 6 questions. And after asking these questions, the second chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam and the third chapter, they elaborate on answers to these 6 questions. So that's how the Bhagavatam is structured into first 3 chapters. Okay. I'd like to share a few aspects from our first chapter which we discussed. You can see in the screen. Yeah. So you see here, these are the 6 questions they asked. In the 9th number verse, they asked, what is the ultimate good for all people in general? This is the question they asked. Second thing, in the 11th verse, they ask about what is the essence of all scriptures. See, ultimate good is taking what will benefit them. And second is, okay, Vyasdev may say, or Suta Goswami may say, for ultimate good of people, Vyasdev has given so many scriptures. Itihasas, Puranas, Samhitas, Upanishads, Aranyakas, he gave so many things. This is for the ultimate benefit of all people. But understanding that it may divert like that, they ask another specific question is, what is the essence of all the scriptures? He said, we know there are many scriptures Vyasdev has given. What is the essence of it? Because people in Kali Yuga don't have that ability. They can go through all those things. And after this, the people who assembled there, scientists are not only compassionate, They are fully aware of Krishna's activities. Therefore, they ask the third question: why Krishna appeared? What is the purpose of Krishna's appear in this Dwapar Yuga? Why he appeared? For what purpose? That is the third question. And the fourth question which asked is Purusha Avataras. They want to know what are the amazing activities Lord performs, adventurous activities in this universe. So Jiva Goswami gives adventurous activities are creation, maintenance, and destruction. Therefore, basically the question is, what are the Purusha Avataras? In the third chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, we'll discuss it elaborately. There are 6 categories of avatars. In the 6 categories of avatars, there is Purusha Avataras, Guna Avataras, Leela Avataras, Manvantara Avataras, Shakta Vesha Avataras, and one more. In this way, the categorization is given. So, he is specifically asking about the Purusha Avataras, which created his entire universe. The 3 Purusha Avataras. We'll see the answers in the further discussion. And the 5th question they asked about the Leela Avataras. So the Lord not only comes in Dwapar Yuga as Krishna, he also came in other yugas. He came in many different forms and performed many Leelas. We want to know about those things. That means basically they ask about Dasha Avataras, the Leela Avataras. And in fact, the 3rd chapter speaks about the Leela Avataras elaborately. And then the 6th question which they ask is, after Krishna disappeared, where the Dharma took shelter of. That means they know that when Krishna was personally there, Dharma is taking shelter there. It is not going somewhere else. Dharma is at the lotus feet of Krishna. Therefore, one who is a devotee, he can be actually following the way dharmic principles properly. If one is not a devotee, he can't for a long time follow the religious principles. Very difficult. Therefore, they are concerned. Now Krishna disappeared, then where the devotee should take shelter? Where the people in general for their ultimate good to take shelter in order to keep their dharmic principles intact. So these are the 6 questions they asked. And we see Srimad Bhagavatam is compared with these 4 things. This is the commentary by Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. He compares Srimad Bhagavatam to a lamp. Why he compares Srimad Bhagavatam to a lamp? Because that lamp is illuminating the room. If you lit a lamp in a dark room, it will illuminate the entire room. Similarly, our heart is very dark. Dark because of the contamination of the Kali Yuga and because of our own conditionings from many lifetimes. And this could be illuminated by the lamp of Bhagavatam. And Bhagavatam can actually give right questions to be asked and right answers to be known. Like Priyasar was mentioning, the sages, the Bhagavatam is filled, Prabhupada said, Bhagavatam is filled with perfect questions and perfect answers. Why? Because when you read Bhagavatam regularly, you know what questions to be asked in life. However, you see, when you don't read Bhagavatam, you don't take shelter of devotees, we find ourselves always filled with anxiety of certain questions, which are either related to eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. And we are bogged down with the not getting proper answers for that. That is a simply waste of time, energy. And we can personally also realize when you take more shelter of reading Bhagavatam and devotees hearing from spiritual masters, you get a proper subject to munch upon. Just like cows, after eating the grass, they sit and munch upon it for a long time. The Vaishnava should be like that cows. They should munch upon what they hear and read on a daily basis. And that keeps their mind focused on proper questions and proper answers. And other questions and answers, if they are in line with these main questions, then they entertain it. And if they are not in line with it, they reject it. So that's how the Bhagavatam acts as a lamp in destroying any ignorance in the heart and establishes the absolute truth. And then this Bhagavatam is also compared to sun, Arka, Purarko. It's the original sun. Arka means sun, and Purarko matlab the original sun. Because sun illuminates not only a room, it illuminates each and every corner of the universe. So Bhagavatam, when you take shelter of Bhagavatam and you start discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, it will benefit every living entity. That's what we see Bhaktivinoda Thakur when the attack by, where was it? Black magic attack by Vishakshen on the family of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur took shelter of reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Because when he recited Srimad Bhagavatam, all the ill effects of Vishakshen got washed off. So Bhagavatam destroys all the inauspicious things. And not only it destroys inauspicious things, it also destroys any other misconceptions one may have about the absolute personality of Godhead, about the Vaishnavas. These are all things. And you can see many sections of Srimad Bhagavatam which speak about misunderstandings and how that is resolved. So that's how the Bhagavatam removes. It makes the Vaishnavas come more closer to each other. That's how the Bhagavatam verses are there. And then Bhagavatam is compared to a fruit, Galita Phalam. Nigama Kalpataro or Galita Phalam. It's a fruit because it is the message which is handed down through parampara. It is handed down through a parampara, and this parampara is starting from Krishna. And it came till Srila Prabhupada. It is handed down in a parampara. And in this parampara, especially because of the presence of two main personalities, that is Madhavendra Puri and Ishwar Puri, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because of their presence, we also got the taste of Madhurya Rasa, which is not possible in other paramparas. The Madhurya Rasa of Krishna relating with Srimati Radharani, that Rasa Tattva, we can able to at least understand because of this parampara, Galita Phalam. It is handed down fruit. It is not dropped down. It is handed down. The dropped down fruit, it will spoil. If you think, okay, let me hear only from Sridhar Swami and not from Prabhupada. If one starts feeling that I will read only Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur and not Srila Prabhupada commentaries or Guru's Guru's views on this Srimad Bhagavatam, then what happens? That fruit is a rotten fruit. You can never appreciate that fruit. It will be either raw or it will be fallen down for a long time before and it will become rotten. You cannot appreciate it unless you hear in a parampara. Very important. You cannot reject parampara and directly go for the ultimate. Yes, what Sridhar Swami gave commentary, what Vishnu Chakravarti commentaries are very amazing. But if you don't study them in line with Srila Prabhupada, then actually you get indigestion of eating that fruit. So therefore, Galita Phalam matlab, it is an handed down, not dropped down. It's a handed down fruit. It's handed from one hand to other hand and it came like that. So while reading, referring to any acharyas earlier, we should always go in line with the Srila Prabhupada's commentaries. Very important. And Srimad Bhagavatam is also compared to Mohini Murti. This is another way Bhagavatam is glorified. Mohini Murti is very careful of giving nectar only to the demigods and not to the demons. So we see that how Bhagavatam is also very careful of keeping the Rasa Tattva very secured. And that is only revealed to the devotees who hear in the parampara in a proper submissive mood, with a eagerness to apply in their life and also benefit others. Compassion and realization, both are important. That's what we see in the Suta Goswami. He has a compassion and he also has a realization. So hearing from such devotees is very important. Only realized Vaishnavas and they don't have compassion. you can never get the full aspect of Srimad Bhagavatam. And those who are compassionate, but certainly they don't have realizations, it will not be very nourishing. Therefore, these two qualities are very important, compassion and realization. And in this way, Mohini Murti has kept secured the nectar for demigods and not for the demons. They only get the wrong thing, or they only get the thing which will actually destroy them. Like Rahu and Ketu, they're taken the nectar, but Mohini Murti immediately cut the head because they are not qualified to understand the tattva, rasa tattva. Because when they take the rasa tattva, they will start misusing it, misapplying it, misrepresenting it. Just like the Apasampradayas do. They're doing it because of this. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam secures the right understanding. Therefore, anywhere you want to establish pure bhakti, one should take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam in the parampara and speak about it. So we see that's how the Srimad Bhagavatam first chapter gives an elaboration on the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, glories of absolute truth, and establishes the scene in which the questions being asked by Saunakadi Rishis to Suta Goswami, and why Suta Goswami was selected, and that is also explained because of the 5 divine qualities. I will share that also. 5 divine qualities which made Suta Goswami, where it is. So these are the 5 divine qualities of Suta Goswami. You can see here. This is explained in the 6th and 7th and 8th verses. These 3 verses from the first canto, first chapter, we get the 5 divine qualities. Anaga is free from sin. Actually, when you are free from sinful, free from vices, sinful aspects, then you become very determined in bhakti. Very important. So many times devotees ask this, probably I'm not so determined. Maybe you are committing some sinful activities. Some things which, because of your conditionings, which you are repeatedly doing good, because of which your determination to go ahead in bhakti is not happening. You are seeing, you're getting good association, good environment is there, but you're not growing because of certain sinful tendencies you're continuing. And you should not feel bad about it. Rather, the suggestion would be that you should reveal it and try to take help of it. And if you have grown sufficiently in bhakti because of so many years of practice, then you should take a proper step. You know that this is a tempting situation, or this is a particular place where I commit this sinful activity. Now let me overcome it. Free from vices. Anagha is very, very important aspect. If you want to really be determined in bhakti, you have to be free from sinful tendencies. Therefore, the 4 regulative principles are given by Srila Prabhupada in order for the devotees to become determined in practice of the chanting and taking shelter of the pure principles of bhakti. Otherwise, what happens is devotee will have a tough time. It's not that he will give up bhakti and go. He will have a tough time because he can't handle, because the determination is not there. Enthusiasm is gone down because of sinful activity. Therefore, we should, the only person who gets troubled by sinful activity is ourselves. So therefore, we should take a step. It is instruction not only to all of you, it is to me also. It is very crucial that we take aspect or this point of free from sinful tendencies. And second is Akyatani Adhitani. Is explained and read. See, but explaining, you actually read more deeply. So it's very important when you are reading or hearing, you should have a forum of devotees or some other people in your category. Therefore, I told preaching is important, where you share what you are hearing and reading. Because when you explain, your reading becomes more deeper. So this is the second quality. And the third quality of Suta Goswami by which they selected him to speak on Srimad Bhagavatam was Veda Vedam Sreshtaha. He is the eldest learned Vedantist. See, don't try to be the leader of a group. You should never try to be leader of a group. Rather, you should lead the group by serving. Take a serving position. And naturally, you will become a leader over a time. That factors are time. Second factor is that your service mode, which has really influenced the Vaishnava Sangha, and they want to select you as the leader. So you cannot just push yourself, okay, I will be the leader of it. Let everyone serve me. No, it should be selected. Veda Vedam, the eldest learned. That it has to be happening by the devotee Sangha. One should not push oneself to be in the leading position. The only vacant place which is always will be available is servant position. It will always remain. You can actually lead a group by being servant. And that is the most safe position. People can approach you. You should be approachable. Not that you sit in a big throne that people can't approach you only. They fear approaching you. So you should be in a role where people can approach you, talk to you, and express their thing. And you should be not helping them. You should actually, you are serving them by facilitating. Because you also help, you also received that type of help, so you want to serve others the same way. So these three are external qualities. They are divine, but they are external qualities. However, they highlight two more qualities by which they selected Suta Goswami. They are the two inner qualities. That is Saumya and Snigdha. He is a pure and simple. He was very pure. Pure means he does not have any type of ill motivations in his life, in his heart. And is simple in terms of understanding the situation around. He was not complicated. For him to, kept in a given scenario, he can understand what is happening, is simple. And is approachable. In that way, is very approachable. Saumya. And Snigdha is submissive to his parampara. He is not independent man. He is a man who has come in the parampara. He has a spiritual master. Suta Goswami has a spiritual master, Sukadeva Goswami. And that's what we see in today's discussion by Priya Swarup Prabhu, which will be see that how Suta Goswami, before answering the 6 questions, what are the 6 questions? The ultimate good for people in general, essence of scriptures, the purpose of Krishna's appearance, and what are the Purusha Avataras, what are the Leela Avataras, and the 6th question is where Dharma took shelter. So, in these 6 questions, in the 2nd chapter, Suta Goswami elaborated answers to the first 4 questions. And before answering these questions, 4 questions, he offers his obeisance. Just like we do Mangalacharana. We do Mangalacharana before giving a class or before addressing the Vaishnava. Like that, he is doing a Mangalacharana. So in the Mangalacharana, the first verse which he took up, as Priya Swarupu mentioned, I request somebody can repeat after me. Vyasa uvacha.
Vyasa uvacha.
Iti samprashna samhrishto.
Iti samprashna samhristo.
Pranam Ramaharshani.
Vipranam Ramaharshani.
Priti pujya vachastesham.
प्रतिपूज्य वचस्तेषाम्
भक्तुम् उपचक्रमे.
प्रवक्तुम् उपचक्रमे.
So I was very amazed with the way Priya Sarupu mentioned about the story of Romarshan Sutta. Yes, here we see that Suta Goswami was selected because of certain divine qualities as earlier mentioned, and that is case study ke hisab se the story is there of Romarshan Sutta. And also we see that here in this particular verse, Vyasadeva, here the address is done by Vyasadeva. Now you may get confused. Earlier Suta Goswami being questioned by Saunakaja rishis, and now how Vyasadeva came into picture. So Bhagavatam is not chronological. You have to understand, Bhagavatam is not chronological. It is a discussion within a discussion and discussion, like that. So Vyasadeva basically compiled Srimad Bhagavatam. He has a Trikala Jnana Shakti he has. He could envision what is the future discussions which is going to happen between Suta Goswami and Saunakaja rishis. And therefore he compiled entire Bhagavatam like that. He mentioned what Suta Goswami, what Saunakaja rishis are going to ask the questions, or Suta Goswami is going to answer. Like that, this is the first place where Vyasa is telling that the son of Romarshina being fully satisfied. Vipranam Romarshini Pratipuja Vatastesham Pravritta Mucha Kampane. Iti Samprashna Samrishto. This is a very important line in this verse. Samprashna Samrishto. Only perfect questions can satisfy the heart. And what are perfect questions? Any questions related to Krishna. Absolute truth. Any questions related to Bhakti, devotional service. Any questions related to devotees, pure devotees, Shuddha Bhakta. Any questions related to the these three, Bhagavan, Bhakt, and Bhakti. These questions are very satisfying to the heart. Therefore, we should reframe our questions. Whenever you consult any superiors or you have a certain question, the question should be in line with these three things, either of these three things or all these three things. Then that questions are very satisfying. Therefore, after Bhagavatam, when there are question and answer session, even you may not have question, you should be lend your ear to hear others' questions. Because others' questions, from that you understand what is the advancement the devotee is having, what is the focus the devotee is having. And just by hearing the question only, you can find the satisfaction of the heart. So you see, Suta Goswami was appreciating the inquirers, because the inquirers were not challenging Suta Goswami with this question. They were submissively asking the questions, and Suta Goswami became very satisfied. He thanked them. Thank you for asking such important questions, because that questions are going to benefit. People are preoccupied with questions related to eating, sleeping, mating, and depending. At least these questions will uplift their consciousness. So that's how we see here Vyasadeva is addressing Suta Goswami, that how he felt satisfied, some prashna, some hishto. And then he thanked all the people who have remembered. After thanking all of them, then here the next verse, we see how Suta Goswami is speaking now. Okay, Vyasadeva is addressing what Suta Goswami spoke. See, amazing is the way Vyasadeva compiled Srimad Bhagavatam. He has chosen words, and each and every word is, can bring out revolution in the heart of the misdirected civilization. Prabhupada mentions in one of the purport. The verses, the shloka, the particular words are very, very amazing. And this shloka, which we are Suta Vacha's first address, is very amazing, important shloka. In the second chapter is the first shloka, which is very important. Suta Uvacha. Well, somebody to read?
Yes, yes. Suta Uvacha.
Yam pravrajantam anupetam apeta krityam.
Yam pravrajantam anupetamapeta krityam.
Vaipayano viraha katara ajuhava.
Dvaipayano viraha katara ajuhava.
Putreti tanmayatayatra bibhinedus.
Putreti tanmayataya taravo binetus.
Tam sarva bhuta hridayam munimanatosmi.
Tam sarva bhuta hrudayam munimanatosmi.
So here Suta Goswami, first in the Mangalacharan, what he is doing is glorifying his spiritual master, Sukadeva Goswami. Let me offer obeisance to the sage Sukha. Priya Sarva mentioned Sukadeva Goswami, the parrot of Srimati Radharani. One time he was sitting on a tree and he overheard the discussion which Shiva is doing with Parvati on Srimad Bhagavatam. And he was eager to hear, and Shiva is speaking exclusively to Parvati. And he want no one else to hear because it's a very secret. It's like Mohini Murti kept the nectar only for demigods. So Shiva also concerned that Bhagavatam discussion should be heard only by devotees, not by non-devotees and envious people, because they will some other thing and misrepresent it. So he was careful, and then after some time Parvati, went into sleep, and Sukha parrot, who is sitting on the top of the tree, was hearing Bhagavatam, and he relished it so much that he wanted Shiva not to stop speaking. Or in the voice of Parvati, the Sukha parrot started telling, continue, very nice, amazing, please continue more. Like that, he started pointing to Shiva. And Shiva was closing his eyes and he's speaking Bhagavatam. And after some time, he realized that Parvati is sleeping. But who is telling him, continue, please, amazing, very nice, comment, who is giving comment? Then he saw the Sukha parrot on the tree, on the top of the tree. Immediately became annoyed. Are, I am giving a private class and who is this fellow has come in between and is hearing. So immediately using the Sukha parrot. And Sukha, out of fear, was traveling all over the universe and then went and entered into the womb of Vyasdev's wife. He entered into that womb. He wanted to keep himself safe from Lord Shiva. And in the womb of his mother, Sukadeva Goswami was remembering all the lecture which he heard of Lord Shiva on Bhagavatam and started munching upon it. And he felt so absorbed in it that even after 9 months of pregnancy, he was not ready to come out. That pregnancy went for 16 years. Can you imagine? Vyasdeva's wife was bearing Sukadeva Goswami in the womb for 16 years. And at the request of Lord Krishna personally he came out of the womb because he doesn't want to get captivated by the Moha Maya, the Maya of this material world. See, pure of Maya, it's a very healthy fear. If we are not fearful of Maya, then there is some problem. We will go through certain problems in life. To maintain a healthy fear is always good. So we see how here Sukadeva Goswami, he feared and he wanted assurance from Lord Krishna that I'll be protected. And Krishna said, don't worry. As soon as you come out, you can go to the forest and take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. So therefore, after he born, he started running toward the forest. And Vyasdeva was running after him. And that's what this verse speaks here. The verse speaks here that how, let me offer my obeisance to the great sage Sukadeva Goswami, who can enter the hearts of all. When he went away to take up renounced order, sannyas, when he went just after taking birth, leaving home without undergoing reformation by sacred thread. His father Vyasdev, fearing separation from him, Here the word Dvaipayano Viraha Katara Aju Ava, very important. Dvaipayana means Vyasadeva, Viraha matlab separation. He is feeling separation from his son. This is not a material affection, it's a spiritual affection. We should understand what Bhagavatam is addressing. Sometimes when when we take up brahmacharya, parents also feel very annoyed. They feel separation. But there is a lot of material attachment within that. However, over a period, because of purification, because of karma being purified, they realize what is the path my son went to it. So Vyasadev knew for what he is going to there. But however, Vyasadev, out of a spiritual affection for his son, wanted to train him in samskaras, wanted to give him further training in Srimad Bhagavatam. Want to do samskaras for him and do training on Srimad Bhagavatam. It is out of a spiritual affection. As a father, he felt that he need a Gurukul training before going to the forest. In that way, the Viraha, what is doing? Katara Ajuava. He is being afraid and started explaining, oh son, please return, please return. But unfortunately, his voice was not heard by Goswami. He was absorbed in some level. Who heard his voice? The trees, the voice. And there, one of the others explained, very important point here. Explained that the trees are not echoing the voice of Vyasadeva, but the voice of Sukadev. Sukadev actually also feeling that aspect. What he did for his father, he entered into the hearts of the trees. He entered into the hearts of the trees and spoke it. Therefore, he is capable of entering the hearts of living beings. So Sukadev Goswami is a very qualified guru. A guru can understand the heart, or he can enter into the heart of the disciples, sincere disciples, and reveal the realizations within the heart. So Sukadev Goswami is a very qualified personality. Just like, so basically Suta Goswami is glorifying Sukadev Goswami in this way, just like you entered into the hearts of the trees and echoed the feeling which you are having for you. Same way, Suta Goswami is requesting Goswami, please enter my heart and answer all these questions which the sages are asking. I have no qualification. I need your blessings, because by your own realizations only you have uplifted me, and I want you enter into my heart and speak out those realizations in front of these all people. Sometimes you see, you prepare a lecture or you prepare a topic, and when you go and speak, you speak something else, which comes from your heart. You prepared from your mind something, but what comes out is from your heart. Understand, it's a blessing. Because of your service and commitment and surrender, sometimes Krishna reveals to the spiritual master. Spiritual master reveals in the heart, and that statements come out, and that will really affect another person who is in the front. So we are here. Suta Goswami is addressing Sukadev Goswami to please enter his heart also, and please answer the questions of the 6 sages of Mishara. In this second verse. And in the third verse, he continues to glorify Sukadeva Goswami. In this, the third verse, which is also very important verse, in the 1.2.3. I'm just opening. Yeah. You repeat after me. Yatsvanubhavamakila sarame.
Prabhuji, it's not, screen is not visible.
Adhyatma deepamatiti shatam tamondam samsarina karun tam vyasa sunamupayami gurum muninam. Yeah. Yashvanubhavam akila shruti saramekam adhyatma deepam aditirchatam tamondam. So here you see the Bhagavatam is compared to a lamp here, deepam, adhyatma deepam. Atitirchatam tamondam samsarenam karunaya purana guhyam tam vyasa sunam. Let me offer my obeisances to Sukha. Is again further glorifying his spiritual master, Sukadev Goswami. What he's saying? The spiritual master of all sages. Munina, all the sages, he is the guru of them. In age, he was only 16-year-old because he just came out of the forest. And after entering the forest, what happened was, at one point, he Vyasa realized his book, he needed to learn. So he sent two of his disciples and they started reciting further Bhagavatas. And he got attracted. Sukadeva Goswami got attracted. And he said, what is happening? He said, these all wonderful verses you can hear from your father. So come back. So immediately Sukadeva Goswami comes back to the hermitage of Vyasadeva. And Vyasadeva teaches him Srimad Bhagavatam elaborately. And then he becomes so nurtured internally and felt very grateful to his father, Vyasadeva, for helping out in discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. Then what he does? He goes back. He goes back, and that in order to benefit Parishit Maharaj, who was sitting on the bank of Ganga, who was about to give up his life within 7 days, but he looking for something very beneficial for his. Therefore, Sukadeva Goswami felt, just like I got benefited when I took birth from Vyasadeva, let me benefit someone who is about to die. So the move of Sukadeva Goswami is not like I'm a master, made me sit on Vyasasana, okay, अभी क्या problem बताइए, मैं भी answer करूँगा. That was not his mood. Sukadeva Goswami was felt so grateful for the association of Bhagavatam and Bhagavat he had. The two types of Bhagavatam, person Bhagavat and book Bhagavat. He had both these associations. He wanted to share the same aspect. He said, how can benefit a person, king, who has lived for a long life, who has lived for 35 years. His mood was not to lead. He was not taking a role of a leader. Sukadeva Goswami was taking the role of a servant. In a servant role, he wanted to share what he was benefited with. And in this way, you see a perfect combination of Parikshit and Sukadeva Goswami. Therefore, he is called the guru of all the sages. He has taken that position in a servant mood, in a servitorship, in a mood of a servant. The son of Vyasadeva, who with great compassion for those gross materialistics. This is a very important second qualification we see of Sukadeva Goswami. He was compassionate. See, compassion is a very, very down-to-earth, prominent quality which is necessary for a practicing devotee. From the beginning of his life, the compassion principle has to be nurtured. The quality need to be nurtured. If you don't nurture the quality of compassion, you think about, अरे मेरा पढ़ाई क्या हो रहा है, मेरा खाना क्या हो रहा है, मेरा ब्रेकफास्ट क्या होगा, मेरा लंच क्या होगा, मेरा फैमिली क्या होगा, मेरा बैंक अकाउंट क्या होगा, मेरा जॉब क्या होगा. If that is the only point of life, then tomorrow the chanting won't be so much intact, and Vaishnava Sangam will not be intense. The compassion principle has to come. The first compassion you should show to is yourself by focusing on sadhana. But sadhana is actually showing compassion to the soul. If you're not sufficiently compassionate to yourself, don't worry. Compassion to yourself also means accepting what your limitations are. That is also a sign of showing compassion to oneself. So when you understand your own limitations, when you intensify your bhakti, which is very necessary for your Atma satisfaction, Atma satisfaction, for self-satisfaction, then that compassion can be manifested on other living entities. So you need to balance it. Compassion for oneself and compassion for others. You have to balance it and make a training. You make a module of lifestyle like that. In this way, you show compassion for others. You should have some people whom you are training in bhakti. You are trying to bring in them in bhakti. Or you should also help other Vaishnavas who are taking the role of helping others and show your compassion in that way. You may not have compassion, at least you can assist in the compassion of the other devotees, pure devotees. Therefore, when you take part in services, you're actually assisting in the compassion of the great souls. Compassion of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada is showing his compassion in the form of the missionary statements which he has given. You are helping in that. So in this way, we should exercise a balance, showing compassion to oneself and to the others. This is the second quality in Sukadev Goswami. And the third quality, he said, he spoke this most confidential supplement, the cream of knowledge, after having personally assimilated. Personal assimilation means realization. So, for Sukadev Goswami, Suta Goswami is addressing Sukadev Goswami for three things here. The first thing is, he has taken a role of a guru in a servant mode. He is not proud of being a guru. Rather, if he is fortunate, getting an opportunity to facilitate others. Therefore, he has taken a role of guru, sitting on that asan. 16-year-old boy sitting on a Vyasasan, and his guru is Vyasadeva. He is sitting down, and his guru Narada is also sitting there, and they are all hearing. He was able to happily speak confidentially because he was in the servant mode. He was not thinking, "Arey, mera bhi challenge ho raha hai. Arey, sab log mere ko sunenge aur comment denge." Because he was not fearing like that, because his mode was servant mode. And the two more qualities is being stressed here is compassion and realization. He has compassion for other living entities, and he has personally assimilated the subject matter which he is going to share. See, without realizations, now you can't speak for a long time, and you cannot speak substantial. So you may say, Prabhu, एक क्लास अटेंड करने से हो जाएगा. नहीं, एक क्लास अटेंड करने से नहीं होता है. आप उसको लेके जो भी अब रीडिंग सेक्शन है उसको पढ़ना बहुत जरूरी है. पढ़ के you have to assimilate श्रवणम और मननम. When you do श्रवणम, hearing, then you do the mananam, remembering it. You remember. And nididhyasa, matlab you start analyzing in your life or contemplate how this particular statements meant in your life. In this way, when you do a sincere endeavor, then Krishna and Guru in the heart reveals, seeing your endeavor. And those are realizations. Realizations are not you make the points. If you make the point, that is your understanding. Realizations are revealed in the heart. That comes out naturally. It's a mercy coming from the Guru and Krishna. So in this way, Sukadev Goswami personally assimilated the instructions and is trying to share. So this is the further glorification. And we see how in the next 4 verses, I think third verse we discussed, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, he glorifies, as Priyaswarpu mentioned, the Naranarayana, Lord Narayana, and Saraswati, the goddess of learning, because Saraswati blessing also very important. For us, the Saraswati it plays a very important role in assimilating the spiritual knowledge. We are not against the demigods, even though we may not worship demigods. We should respect. And that's what we see here. Suta Goswami is expressing his gratitude to Saraswati Devi and Vyasadev, who was his great grand spiritual master. The Vyasadev, Vyasasan is called because Vyasadev is the one who compiled Srimad Bhagavatam for all of us to discuss. So he's offering obeisances, Mangala Acharana. And then he is appreciating, after offering the obeisances to his Guru, Lord Narayana, Nara Narayana, and Saraswati and Vyasadev, he is now appreciating in the 5th verse the speakers. Is appreciating the hearers, the sages of Naimisharanya who asked those questions. Here the questions asked by the sages. We'll just show that verse number 5. Here internet is very slow. I don't know whether you're able to see. 5. Yeah. Munaya sadhu prishtoham Bhavadbhirloka mangalam
Bhavadbhirlokamangalam
Yatkrita Krishna Samprashno
Yatkrita Krishna Samprashno
Yenatma Suprasidati.
Enatma Suprasidati.
Krishna Samprashno. Yatkrita Krishna Samprashno. He said, O sages, I have been fully justly questioned by you. Your questions are worthy because they relate to Lord Krishna and so are of relevance to world's welfare. Only questions of this sort are capable of completely satisfying the self. In this particular verse, you can see the faith of Srila Prabhupada in Bhagavatam gets manifested. How Prabhupada very much in the last paragraph you read, Krishna is our intimate master, friend, father, and son, and object of conjugal love. Forgetting Krishna, we have created so many objects of Krishna concept, but none of them are able to give complete satisfaction. All things but Krishna give temporary satisfaction only. So if you have to have complete satisfaction, we must take to question and answers about Krishna. We cannot live for a moment without being questioned or without giving answers, because Srimad Bhagavatam deals with questions and answers related to Krishna. We can derive the highest satisfaction only by reading and hearing this transcendental. So Prabhupada is giving that so much confidently speaking, only Bhagavatam can highly satisfy you, nothing else. Prabhupada says that stay high forever. How could he say? Because he has Srimad Bhagavatam in his hand. He took Srimad Bhagavatam from to America when he was journeying. The only big thing what he had was Srimad Bhagavatam. He was very confident. This will satisfy everyone. Just have discussions on Srimad Bhagavatam, this will satisfy everyone. One should learn Srimad Bhagavatam, make an all-round solution to all problems pertaining to social, political, and religious matters. Nowadays, unfortunate, many devotees, they start stressing on social and political issues and religious issues separately without taking shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. They think that we need to address them. We need to give our comments on that. What are the social issues? What are the political issues which are happening? But Bhagavatam has all solution. Therefore, we should make this habit. Anytime anyone asks about any issues, what is your comment? You should comment as per Srimad Bhagavatam. Take the reference from Srimad Bhagavatam and then point out it. That's how you should develop your confidence in Srimad Bhagavatam. See, it's not Srimad Bhagavatam is only for spiritual reading. It's for your personal life application also. आपकी लाइफ की हर प्रॉब्लम के हिसाब से इसको सॉल्यूशन. We should actually marry Srimad Bhagavatam. That's what some of the senior devotees they share. You have to marry Srimad Bhagavatam. No, when you are newly married, you want to take your wife everywhere. You want to take emotional support from your wife. You want to show off your wife to others. You want to proud about, I got married like this, and I'm living a happy life. You want to make memories with your wife. So that's what a devotee should do with Srimad Bhagavatam. Uh, uh, Srimad Bhagavatam is he should marry. He should make memories with Srimad Bhagavatam. He should take Bhagavatam with him wherever he is going. He should take emotional support in Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way, both husband and wife can live peacefully if they take support of Srimad Bhagavatam. And same thing applies to others who are not married. For them also, it's very essential that they shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. It gives solution, all-round solution to social, political, or any matters. For the sake, Srimad Bhagavatam and Krishna are the sum total of all things. See how Prabhupada is so confident about Srimad Bhagavatam. This purpose Prabhupada wrote before going to America. Before going to America, sitting in Vrindavan, he is writing these commentaries. Where he was not knowing what chances he has, but he is so confident speaking about it. So that's what we see here, Srila Prabhupada. And next two verses, which were the discussion of these weeks, 6 and 7, they answer the first two questions of sages of Naimisharanya. What are the first two questions? What is the ultimate good for people in general? And what is the essence of all scriptures? Basically, the answer is same. That is Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhakti principle. Bhakti principle, the principle of practicing devotional service to Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the ultimate benefit of all living beings. And this is what the all Vedas are proclaiming. And the essence of Vedas speak on Bhakti. So these two verses are very, very crucial. 6 and 7. Please recite. Savai Pumsha Paro Dharmo Yato Bhakti Rathokshaje
Yato bhaktiradokshage
Ahyotuki Apratihata
ahaituki apratihata
Atma Suprasidati.
yayatma suprasidati.
See, in the 5th verse, you see, your questions are Enatma Suprasidati. And this verse says, the Bhakti is Yayatma Suprasidati. What satisfies the self completely? It is very satisfying is Bhakti principle. So, Savai Pumsha, every living being, the supreme occupation of all humanity. That is the first question. What is the benefit of all humanity? Is that man can attain to loving service unto Supreme Lord. So Bhaktir Adokshaja. Adokshaja, who is not perceived by senses. Adokshaja means, Aksha means senses. Adokshaja means one who is beyond the senses. He cannot be perceived by our gross and subtle senses. Krishna can only reveal himself. Only by revelation, his own revelation, we can understand him. We cannot just capture Krishna. And how Krishna reveals? When Krishna reveals, Yato Bhakti, when you do devotional service to him, Krishna reveals. And this devotional service has two qualities, Ayutaki and Apratihata. As Priya Sarpo mentioned on this aspect, Ayutaki and Apratihata. Ayutaki means Hetu, matlab cause. Ahetu matlab no cause. This is one meaning which Acharya says. No cause means what? Bhakti is not caused by any material activities. Like all of us have some Bhakti inspiration, heart. Heart में थोड़ा है ना, mood है, भगवान को सेवा करना है, भगवान को प्रसन्न करना है, थोड़ा भक्तों के संग करना, ये सब इच्छा है ना, भक्ति का इच्छा है. ये भक्ति का इच्छा कैसे जागृत हुआ है? आपने कुछ पुण्य कर्म किया क्या? नहीं. ये भक्ति is not caused by any material thing. Bhakti is causeless. Causeless means what? It has come in your heart only by bhakti in the heart of a pure devotee. Maybe in your life you had association of some pure devotees who had just kept their eyes over you out of compassion. When a Prema Bhakta sees with his eyes, with seeing that eyes, actually is impregnating that bhakti in his heart to some extent in your heart. He gives a seed of it. And now it's up to you how you cultivate it. But the bhakti is caused by the bhakti only. Bhakti is not caused by any other thing. A bhakta who has bhakti, in his sangha you receive bhakti. So that's how it is called ahetu. It has no other cause. And ahetu also means it has no motivations. That means while practicing bhakti, a devotee should not have other motivations. Like Bhagavad Gita speaks about 4 types of people who approach him. Ardo, Ardhadi, Jnani, Rignasu. All of them have some motivation. Their bhakti is not pure bhakti. Yato bhakti, that bhakti is not pure bhakti which is satisfying. Their bhakti is motivated with some desires. They want wealth, they are distressed. One should practice bhakti which is having no motivations. So this bhakti should be unmotivated. To Adhokshaja, the Lord, should perform unmotivated, no ill motivations. Or I want to achieve something, therefore I am performing bhakti. No, very wrong. See, when you will realize what your motivations, when you actually start practicing pure bhakti without no motivation, let me know no material desires. Let me practice bhakti with no material desires. Let me only do for pleasure of Krishna. I am not enthusiastic, but let me be enthusiastic for Krishna. This is a very amazing quality. This is a pure devotion. So when you start doing that, now you feel pain. And when you analyze that pain, now you realize there are some material desires in the heart, which are troubling you, which are paining you, and which is not allowing you to perform pure bhakti. For giving an example, when I ask all devotees, Prabhus, please read regularly Bhagavatam. It's a pure bhakti principle. ना? उससे क्या मिलने वाला मेरे को? ये प्रश्न तुरंत मन में आएगा. अरे हर दिन क्यों पढ़ना है? इतना टाइम कहाँ मेरा? टाइम पास क्यों करना है इतना? If that type of attitude is there, that means there is some wrong. Because you feel, I need to get some benefit by reading. I can read other books. There are so many novels. There are so many other books which will give a lot of intellectual understanding. भागवतम तो सुनते हैं, उसमें क्या है पढ़ने का? प्रभुपाद की पर्पस ऐसा ही है. पढ़ने के बाद you don't get an intellectual satisfaction. Still you are continuing reading Bhagavatam. That means you are actually emphasizing on practicing pure bhakti. So same way, you're told hear regularly. अरे क्या hearing करेंगे प्रभु? Okay, come to temple for services. अरे मेरे को क्या मिलेगा उधर? इतना दूर है, पैसा लगेगा, बहुत खर्चा हो जाएगा. तो वही पैसा पार्टी में खर्चा करने में तो दिखता नहीं पैसा. मतलब आपको वो जो हल्कापन नहीं लगता है, भारी, उसमें भारी लगता है पैसा, बहुत है. जैसे एस्पेक्ट आता है, then it becomes very tough. So that's how you are tested. You feel pain in performing pure bhakti. You don't perform pure bhakti, then you feel, oh, my life is going nicely, Prabhu. I'm not japa. Japa. When it comes to chanting, chant in early morning hours. If not all 16 rounds, at least chant some 10 rounds. You will feel pain. अरे बहुत समय जा रहे हैं. I have to prepare for the team meeting है, उसके लिए मेरे को points बनाना है, क्या बात करना है उनसे. और ये सब क्या कर रहे हैं आप बोले करने के लिए, वो बाद में कर लेंगे. और कभी कभी लगता है कि ना जपा करने के लिए, जपा कितना करेंगे प्रभु जी, घर के इतना सेवा रहता है, बच्चों को देखना पड़ता है, उनको स्कूल लेके जाना पड़ता है, बाद में कर लेंगे प्रभु, कंफर्टेबली कर लेंगे. द मोमेंट यू थिंक ऑफ योर कंफर्ट, दैट इज ए नॉट a hetu. It has motivations. So moment you start sincerely practicing even one linga, one linga of the bhakti, anga bhakti, one anga of bhakti, you can understand whether you are performing with motivations or with no motivations. Apratihata matlab no reservations. Pratihata matlab there is some impediment. Aprita means no impediment. It is two meanings. Acharya stated two meanings. One is impediments in terms of some problems from outside. A lot of problems happen, but a devotee's bhakti will not stop. That is called apratihata. Lot of emergencies is coming, but his bhakti will not be stopped. He'll continue. He'll practice. Kunti Maharani, she was going through many problems. She continued. You see many stalwart devotees in Bhagavatam. They continued their bhakti irrespective of so many problems which are coming in their life. And second is uninterrupted also means you don't interrupt it. It will be consistent. Your bhakti is consistent. One thing is problems are coming, your bhakti is not stopping. You're not you're not becoming moody. अरे प्रभु मेरा मेंटल प्रॉब्लम आ गया, अभी मैं क्लासेस नहीं आऊंगा. थोड़ा मेंटल शांत होने दीजिए मेरे को, थोड़ा पीसफुल होने दीजिए मेरे को, फिर भक्ति के संग में आऊंगा. So sometimes it happens like that. Prabhu, I am very hurted by that devotee. And in the yatra he spoke like this to me, so I will not come in devotee sangha. Or sometimes you feel, Prabhu, मेरा लाइफ अच्छा नहीं चल रहा है, बीवी के साथ अच्छा नहीं चल रहा है, बच्चे मेरे बात नहीं सुन रहे हैं, मैं बाद में मिलता हूँ प्रभु आपको. So this is called as interrupted devotion. Problem comes, then we are out. When problems are not there, then you show your face. तो वो सब कुछ अच्छा है. Even in problems, you are coming in association, you are trying to hear, take shelter of Bhagavatam, trying to shelter devotees, uninterrupted. Uninterrupted bhakti. Uninterruption also means, as Acharya say, interrupted means you are consistent. In good times, you are consistent. In bad times, you are not stopping bhakti. That's how the bhakti should be. And this is the answer to the question 1 and the question 2. That is answered in the next verse, which is also the same principle, bhakti only. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayati Asu Vairagyam Jnanam Chad Ahetukam. Yeah. By rendering devotional service to Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the knowledge. See, Veda means knowledge. The essence of all Vedas is what is spoken here. Just by performing bhakti, you get the essence of all Vedas. So you can relate 7th verse of 2nd chapter is answer to the second question. What is the essence of all Vedas? And this jnana is not impersonal jnana. This jnana is causeless jnana. This jnana is about the understanding or realization of Krishna and his qualities. Understanding and realization of the devotees. These are all the realizations of devotees, the mood of the Lord in reciprocity with devotees. This jnana is revealed. And what is the vairagya? Detachment. That means our asakti develops. We develop so much attachment to the practicing the limbs of bhakti, especially the 5 limbs, 5 potent limbs of bhakti, that you would like to spend time in a day like that. You don't want to spend time with other attachments of the world. In this way, you're detached. What are the 5 potent things? Vaishnava Sangha. In the Vaishnava Sangha, Bhagavata Shravana and Nama Sankirtana and Madhura Vas and Sri Murti Vigraha Seva. Sri Vigraha Seva. Shraddha. So you won't like to spend time in those aspects. You develop attachment. So by rendering devotional service to person, you can understand, are you performing pure bhakti or not by these 2 aspects. You are developing realizations. You are able to relate with what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is speaking to Ramananda Rai on the banks of the Godavari. You can immediately relate what the pastime in which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is dealing with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, how things are happening. You can immediately relate. You start appreciating it. That means the jnana is being revealed. And the bhakti, the vairagya, is that you would like to spend time in all those things. So when you perform Shuddha Bhakti, these are natural outcome, jnana and vairagya. So the purity of intent, and consistency are both important. what intentions with which you are practicing bhakti, the purity of it, you have to regularly check in consultation with Vaishnavas. And second thing is purity of intent and the consistency. You are maintaining a consistency in practice of bhakti, by which you get these two results, the causeless knowledge and detachment. The jnana, which is causeless. This is causeless. This is not jnana which you achieve. This is jnana which is revealed. The achieved jnana is like you can just read some verses and become scholarly. That jnana is not speaking here. Here jnana is what it is being revealed. So one performs bhakti and develops knowledge of matter and spirit. And in this way, what happens when that jnana is revealed, realizations come, naturally you become very much, very much detached from the material aspects. How many of you still have same type of attachment you had earlier for the material objects? Or you could change, you could see that there is change in that attachment because you have some jnana. You might experience like that. You got some knowledge of the certain things and you may be attracted to it, material object, but you know what it is in reality. Just like opposite sex. Each one of us may be attached to opposite sex. And by conditioned nature from lifetimes you're attached. But by the bhakti, you realize you got certain realizations in bhakti. Not your frustrated family life. The realization which you get from frustrated family life, that is not jnana. The jnana should come out of bhakti. Otherwise, that jnana is only impersonal jnana. That won't help you. That realizations are simply waste of your time, which even outside people do in the filmy songs. They're frustrated with their affair, they speak about it. No, here the realizations come out of bhakti principle. And with that bhakti principle, you can actually see the material objects in reality. And you can be detached from it. Those who develop jnana and vairagya without bhakti, they are like Mayavadis. Mayavadis, they don't have bhakti principle. They have vairagya, they have jnana, but it has no value. So devotees should be careful. Their realizations, jnana, and their detachment should raise from bhakti. It should raise from bhakti. Realizations of material life, where a devotee is regularly, consistently, without any interruptions, and with a pure intent when he is practicing bhakti, that realizations are proper jnana. And that detachment from the material aspects, where a devotee becomes sufficiently attached to the limbs of bhakti, that detachment is proper. So it's clear? So in this way, the two verses, 6 and 7, speak about bhakti, the pure bhakti, Shuddha bhakti, Ahayatuki apratihata. In Rupa Goswami, in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu speaks about it. What is the shloka? Shuddha bhakti shloka. Anyone remember? I'm not getting on the tongue. He speaks about these two principles, Ayoti apratihata. The devotional service to Vasudeva should be causeless and should be ceaseless. Should be causeless and ceaseless. There should not be any limitations into it. You should consistently do it. So in this way, the Shuddha Bhakti is being highlighted. And the rest of the chapter, till 21st verse, from 8th verse onwards, he is elaborating the different characteristics of Bhakti, Shuddha Bhakti. What is this Shuddha Bhakti? What is the Shuddha Bhakti? How to understand? How it is characterized? And who are the people who follow Shuddha Bhakti? All the things. Okay. So we will meet in the next session. Next Saturday, Bhagavatam. There, what I personally feel is that we can read from Bhakti Supreme Lord Yoga, 8 to 15. Okay, 8 to 15. These verses we will take. So I request devotee should read the translations and purports, come prepared with a certain points, which you will share. So Kamaraj Babu, you can select number either in this class or afterwards, because some of the devotees left because they had classes, I suppose. And you ensure that devotees keep time bounded. They speak for 10 minutes and they brief. They may not recite the verse. They can only read the translation and speak the highlighting point, which they appreciated or they personally could find a connection in the purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam, of Prabhupada. Is he there? Kamaraju is there or is not there? He is only not there. Okay. So Rajiv Prabhu, you can inform me. Okay. Okay then. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Prabhupada ki.